live review of remote job resumes that are specifically designed to jobs. My name is Juliana Rabi. I will be here with you today in this live, reviewing some of the resumes that you sent me, you shared with me because you want to land a remote job. Okay, I am a career coach specializing in remote jobs. I have been working with recruitment, remote jobs itself for more than 15 years, yeah, in total. My experience as a recruiter and all of that. So I'm going to bring all of it to you here today in this live, okay? Let me just check, do some technical check-ins here. If you're watching live, if you can please confirm if the sound is okay, if the video is okay. I'm just checking here, just to see if it's all correct. There are some, technical things I need to double check here. So if you're watching live, I would appreciate if you can confirm if the sound is okay, if the video is okay, and then I can start with the content, okay? We are going to talk about remote resumes. What can you improve in a resume for remote jobs? How you make your resume for remote jobs stand out. That's the goal of this live. I will also leave the chat open in case you want to ask me any questions, share maybe something specifically about your situation, about your resume, comment what I'm going to be sharing here. So please use the chat to communicate with me, okay? Let me just check here. As I said, if you're watching live, just let me know if the sound is okay, if the video is, the sound and the image, if it's all okay, and then I can start with the resumes that I prepared to share with you, okay? Just do some final check-ins from my side. Welcome to everybody who is watching live. If you are watching the recording also, thank you for your time in advance. I'm gonna make my best to add value and to make this live very practical. That's my goal, okay? Very practical, very direct to the point, so you can learn if you have your resume live reviewed by me, but you can also learn, even if your resume is not the one I'm reviewing today, you will be able to learn that and just improve your resume, understand what a good resume should look like and make the most of it. So you should be able to implement the things that I'm gonna share today in your case, okay? So just one final technical checking here from my side. Let me see. Okay, I think we are good to go. Let me see, there are some comments here. Okay, Laura said hi, is good, perfect. Laura, thank you. Laura is on LinkedIn, connecting from LinkedIn, but I'm also streaming on YouTube. So if there is anyone watching on YouTube, please say hi, please confirm if the sound and the video is okay, okay? So without further ado, let's start. And I want to start by sharing that I was reflecting when I was preparing for this live, right? I was reflecting about my relationship, let's say like that, my career journey with resumes, okay? My first job when I recently graduated as a psychologist, so I studied psychology. I have a bachelor degree in psychology. My first job was already as a recruiter, okay? And so 20 years ago, in my first job, I already started working with resumes. So I was the one receiving the resumes, the CVs, right, that candidates were applying to work at the company I was working for at that time. I was reviewing the resumes. I was interviewing the clients. I was talking to the hiring managers to decide the ones that would move forward in the process or not. So resumes, CVs were something that I have been dealing with on a daily basis since my very first job. That was 20 years ago. Of course, I had other jobs in my career, but always in the HR, human resources, recruitment, always in that area. So resumes, I was just reflecting about it. I was like, wow, it has been like many, many years that I have been dealing with resumes on a daily basis, that I have been studying about resumes, because of course the job market changed in the past 20 years, right? So I have been studying about it, attending courses, reading books, talking to other coaches, other recruiters. This is a topic that I have been fully immersed for the past 20 years. So I know a few things about it to share with you today. And I really like it because although I don't believe that the resume is the only thing that you need to land a remote job, there are other elements that are also equally or maybe even more important. You're going to need a resume for sure, right? If you want to land a remote job. So this is a very important element in the process of landing a remote job that some job seekers, they underestimate. They kind of assume that the resume they have is already good, the same one they used like 5 years ago, or a resume that they always used only for office jobs, for office positions. So they assume or they guess or they hope that it's good for remote jobs. So there is a lot to talk about it. That's why I created this live. I'm going to make more lives in the next days about this topic, reviewing more resumes live. So I have a lot to share. I'm excited to be here. I really like this topic. I have been very close to resumes in different ways my whole life. So I'm here to share with you. And I'm going to do that by reviewing some resumes that people sent me before. So I prepared for that. I started. So look, I took some notes here about the comments just to make sure that what I shared about one resume is different than what I shared about the other resume. So you get an overview, you get as much information as possible. And if you want to have your resume also reviewed by me in my next live, just make sure, this way, yeah. Just make sure you click in this QR code here, okay? This is gonna guide you to a group. And in this group, there are the instructions of what you need to do to have your resume reviewed live by me here in the next lives I'm gonna do in the next few days, okay? I will also offer a special condition for you to learn about resume writing with me. So I'm doing some live reviews here, but I want to go deeper into your resume and explain you everything you need to do. So there will be a special offer next week, special conditions for you to learn from me directly about your resume and improve your resume for remote jobs. So the conditions will be here for the special offer and for the free resume writing. So you gotta enter here. Oh, it's hard to point it. Yeah, you gotta enter here to know all about it. But let's start. Oh, Larry is confirming that the transmission on YouTube is also working. Thank you. Perfect. So let me do like this. As I said, I received some resumes upfront, people who entered here in this group. They sent me their resume upfront. I prepared for it. So I'm going to start with the resumes that I already received upfront. My suggestion to you, okay, if you're watching this live, is that you please take pen and paper or just open a file in your computer, whatever you prefer, but take notes. Take notes because I'm going to share a lot of practical, useful information for you to improve your resume for remote jobs. And even if the resume I'm going to share on this screen is not yours, because I won't be able to review everybody's resume right now, you will learn, I can guarantee you that. You will learn from every single resume I'm reviewing and sharing on this screen. Because what I'm going to share here might be the same mistake that you're making in your resume, or what is missing in this resume that I'm going to share here might be the same thing that is missing in your resume. So it doesn't matter if it is your resume or not that is going to be reviewed by me right now, but you will learn a lot and you will be able to improve that in your own resume, okay? I promise that it's going to be very practical, very useful. So let me do this. Let me share. Yes, my screen here. So the first resume that I will be reviewing now is from Florencia. So Florencia, I don't know if you are connected right now, if you're watching live. If you are, please say hi in the chat. It's going to be really cool to know that you are live here. Feel your energy and know that you are watching live. Otherwise, you can, of course, watch the recording. But Florencia, if you are watching live, just say hi in the chat, okay? And then I will know you are here. So look, this is one of the resumes that I received, and Florencia wants to land a remote job, right? She wants to work remotely. So I'm going to be checking my notes. As I said, I took some notes here just to make sure that I highlight the most important things. So I'll be looking down from time to time because I'm checking my notes to give you the best information and to condense this information in the best way as possible, okay? Perfect. Look, so this is Florencia's resume. Let me quickly scroll down for you to have a quick look at it, okay? It's very beautiful, the colors and the way it is formatted and all of that. See, it's 5 pages here, okay? Very beautiful, colorful and all of that, nice photo. But look, Florencia, my goal here with this feedback is to help you to increase the chances to land a job interview and later on to land a remote job. Okay, the goal of the resume, the purpose of having a resume is to land a remote job. So every feedback, the goal of resume is to get a job interview. The goal of the job interview is to land a remote job. So every single feedback I'm going to share here, even if I'm a bit strong, a bit like very direct into the point, my goal here is to teach you, Florencia, and everyone who is starting, who is watching, the best way to write a resume. So I won't be like saying, oh, that's very nice, oh, that's amazing, if it's not, okay? There is no purpose of spending my time, wasting my time and wasting your time with that. So I'm going to be very direct and clear about it. So don't take it personal, okay? I actually appreciate a lot Florencia and everyone else who send a resume for review. It might be a bit hard to listen to what I'm going to share because I will like critique, I will pointed out things that are not good. And there are many things, Florencia, that are amazing about your resume. But the purpose of this life is to help you to improve it. So I'm going to go direct to the point into the things that can be improved, to the things that are not yet great, okay? And one of them is the full layout of the resume, the appearance of the resume, okay? I said it is beautiful, it is colorful, and it is, but we are not writing a resume to be beautiful, to be colorful, to be creative, okay? You are writing a resume to help you to move to the next step of the process, which is a job interview, okay? So more than fancy, creative, modern resume, I will suggest that you stick to a simple resume model. And what I mean by that is probably a Word or a PDF format that doesn't have different colors, doesn't have photo, doesn't have this yellow part, doesn't have those things here. And the reason is simple, well, simple yet complex. When you apply for a job on LinkedIn, on a remote job board, or through the company's website, you're applying through a platform, okay? There will be a software behind those platforms, in the back end of those platforms, that will filter the resume, that will screen the resumes. Imagine that 200 people applied for a job. The recruiter will not review manually 200 resumes. I mean, very few times, but most likely not. So probably there will be some kind of software, some robot helping to filter the resumes. And some of those ATS, that's the technical name, right? Applicant Tracking System. Some of those programs, there are more than 200 programs in the market, they read well creative resume formats like this one that Florencia is using, but some of them don't. I don't know, and you don't know which softwares with programs will be the ones used for that specific remote company you want to apply for. So my suggestion is less is more, keep it simple, go for a resume that doesn't have colors, columns, photos, graphics, and all of that. So it is going to look more boring. I'm anticipating that you won't be as beautiful as this one, but it is more effective if you have to apply for a job through LinkedIn, through a remote job website, or through the company's page, okay? So the layout is less important than the content, what you write, how you write, and how relevant it is for the job. The exception is if you're going to send the resume directly to someone. So if you are chatting with someone on LinkedIn and the person say, hey, can you please send me a resume? Yes, I can. And then you can send this one because it's going from you to a person on the LinkedIn chat. Another exception is if the person say, hey, this is my email address. Can you please forward your resume to me via email? The email is going to be received by a person directly, right? So you can also send this modern, colorful, more creative resume. But my point here is if you're going to apply for a job with this resume, it's better to keep it simple. Don't use colors, colors, columns, photo, symbols, and all of that. Keep it simple, okay? Although it is very beautiful, Florencia. And you can use it for sending directly to someone, okay? The second comment I want to make is that this resume has what is it? 4 pages. Okay, I said 5, but it's 4, sorry. This resume has 4 pages. It is too long. And the reason is that recruiters are normally very busy and screening a lot of resumes. And, there are some studies that show that recruiters spend actually 6 seconds screening your resume before they decide if they really want to read it or not. So everything is very fast. So when I receive a document with 4 pages, my first feeling as a recruiter is, it's too long. I'm lazy to read that. And the recruiter might even skip your resume and go to another one that is shorter just because it was too long. I personally don't think that's fair. It shouldn't be like that, right? Judging a resume before reading it. But look, I was a recruiter for 15 years, so I know exactly how it works. And when you are writing a resume, what you want is to move to the next step of the process. So you want to make it easier for the recruiter to read your resume. You want to make it as easy as possible for the person to read the resume and get the information, like really assimilate what you wrote, because otherwise it's a waste of time. If you write like beautiful 4-page resume or CV and nobody reads, well, you wasted your time. So that's not my point here. My point is I want to help you to write a resume for remote jobs that recruiters will not only read, but they will like, they will be impressed, and they will invite you for a job interview. So, Florence, a 4-page resume is not recommended because it is too long and recruiters might feel lazy, or they might screen the whole document so fast that they don't really get the main information. And we want to make sure that they get the main information. So less is more. I will suggest 2 pages. Okay, 2 pages is a good length for a resume. I know a lot of people talk about 1-page resume, cannot be more than 1 page. 1-page resume is the way to go. I personally disagree, because most likely to fit in 1 page, you're going to need to use 2 columns and all of that. So as I said, this is not always the best format for you to pass the ATS, the applicant tracking system. And also the older you are, right, the more work experience you have, the harder it is to condense everything in 1 page. You probably will sacrifice a lot of important information to just make it small to fit in 1 page. So I personally don't care about 1-page resume. I think 2 is good enough. It's not too long, but you don't suffer that much to choose what is the most important thing to fit in only 1 page. So you can easily go to 2-page resume. That's a very decent, very well accepted number of pages for the resume, but 4 pages, it's too much. So let's stick to 2 pages, okay? Another comment, photo on the resume. Shall I add my photo in a resume for remote job? Shall I not add the photo, and so on? So this is a very common question. My clients, when they hire my resume writing services, or when they are part of my group mentoring, they always ask me that, Juliana, photo on the resume, photo on the CV, yes or no? Yes or no? So let me know in the chat, by the way, if you're watching live, if your current resume has a photo, okay? I want to know, like, genuinely, I want to know, because the thing with photos on the resume, let me know in the chat. Write yes if your current resume has a photo, or no if your resume doesn't have a photo. So let me know in the chat. Because the thing is, it really changes a lot from country to country, okay? As I have clients from different countries, from different nationalities, from different continents, actually, they tell me, Julian, in this country, for example, I lived many years in Spain, and I have clients from there. So in Spain, it's very common that the resumes have photo, because otherwise, if you don't put the photo on the resume, you might look kind of suspicious. It might look like you're hiding something. So I know that in some countries, having a photo is still very common. It's almost like the norm, okay? Let me know in the chat. Write yes if your current resume has a photo, and write no if it doesn't. But on the other side, other countries like the US, a photo on the resume is not only weird, but it's almost forbidden. Okay, people don't put photo on the resume at all in the US and in many other countries. So this is a situation that might vary from country to country. Let me know how it is in your country. But my suggestion is, as a general feedback, don't add photo. Don't add photo on your resume for remote jobs. Write a resume that doesn't have photo. On LinkedIn is a totally different story, okay? The profile photo on LinkedIn is a different explanation for that, but my focus on this live is about the resume. So on the resume, if I may give you my feedback, don't add photo on the resume. The reason is you want people to evaluate you based on your skills, on your experiences, on how much of a fit, of a good match you are for that job, not based on the photo. The photo might lead to bias, like, oh, she's too young, or she's too grumpy, or she's too old, or I don't like her clothes. All those things that are really secondary and shouldn't be taken into consideration, but they are when they see a photo, okay? When recruiters and managers see a photo. So my suggestion is don't add a photo on the resume. That's my most recommended feedback, although I know that in some countries you might need to make an exception because the local culture is very pro adding a photo. But look, you are considering applying for a remote job, right? That's why you're here watching this live. So remote jobs, they tend to be more international. You will probably gonna deal with people from different countries, different nationalities in your team, in your company. So let's think international here. Let's adopt what is more accepted worldwide when it comes to resume writing, and it is no photo on the resume, okay? So Laura, your photo is beautiful. I like the smile. I like you looking at the camera and all of that, but it's better not to have a photo on your resume for remote jobs, okay? Checking my notebook here. I was preparing for this live up front, and I was studying every resume to give you the best feedback to help you to improve yours, okay? And once again, before I move forward, if you have any questions, comments, if you wanna, I don't know, share your situation, your case, like about your resume, please use the chat. I'll be checking it from time to time. Feel free to talk to me, to share things with me in the chat, okay? So, Florencia. Okay. Yes. I don't know if you have remote work experience or not, okay? It was not clear to me when I was like reading the resume. I always think that maybe people worked remotely a little bit during the pandemic, but I don't know, it's not sure. So I was checking here, Florence, and I couldn't find it, like the information, if you worked remotely or not. So please make sure that you make it very clear in different parts of your resume that you do have remote work experience. Why? Because if you're applying for a remote job, remote companies will love to see that you already had a remote job. Even if it was only during the pandemic, even if you say, Juliana, but the problem is that my contract was not remote. I worked remotely for, I don't know, 6 months, a year, 2 years. But then before that, I was not working remotely. And now I'm already back in the office. So I don't want to lie about having a remote contract. Look, you're not going to lie. You're going to say the truth. You did work remotely for 6 months, 3 months, a year, whatever time it is, right? You cannot lie and say, I worked remotely if you haven't worked. That's not what I'm saying here. But if you work remotely for a certain period of time, please make sure that you mention that in different parts of your resume. There are better ways to do that. I teach my clients how to do it, but it's important that it's very explicit in your resume that you work remotely, because that will increase the chances that recruiters call you for an interview. Look, remote company, if you have remote work previous experience, that's a great plus, okay? It doesn't mean that if you never worked remotely, you won't be approved for a remote job. It's not that, okay? But my feedback here is to increase the chances that your resume is going to move forward in the process. So if you're applying for a remote job and if you have remote work experience, please make it very clear in different parts of your resume in the right way, okay? Okay, the next thing I want to share, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, her resume, and I want to go to this part here, the language part, okay? This one. Language, yes. So you can see that she speaks 3 languages, very impressive, Spanish, English, and Portuguese. Oh, by the way, the same language that I speak. I also speak those 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. And so it's good to highlight the language that you speak. That's a good thing. You should have that in your resume. Even if you speak only one language, it doesn't matter. Make sure you make it clear, right? But the problem here, in this specific example, right, in this resume, is the way she is quantifying her fluency in each language, okay? She wrote Spanish and English and then wrote this full bar, like a line, and then Portuguese is a line that is smaller, okay? So I kind of get it. So I'm understanding that Portuguese is less, she speaks less Portuguese than English and Spanish, right? How much less? What does it mean? The Portuguese, does it mean basic Portuguese level? Does it mean intermediate? Does it mean that she's able to communicate, or she just understand but cannot speak? It's not clear. It's not clear. And it should be clear. Everything on the resume should be very clear. We don't want to write stuff that is confusing, that the recruiter will be like, what does it mean? I don't really, because recruiters won't have time for that. They want the information like boom, 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 super fast. Make it as easy to understand as possible, because also it might lead to misinterpretation. They might feel like, oh, her Portuguese is basic. No, we are looking for someone with intermediate Portuguese level, so we won't interview her next. And maybe this line that she wrote means intermediate. We are guessing, we are assuming, and that's extremely risk on the resume. So instead of using those bars, I see some people put like stars. So 5 stars for my English level, 40 stars for my Russian level, 3 stars for my Italian level. What does it mean? 5 star, 3 star, long lines, short lines. So you got my point, right? Instead of those lines or symbols or whatever, what I suggest is that you use words that are very clear, very straightforward. For example, mother tongue, native, advanced, fluent, intermediate, basic. Because when you write something like that, everybody will understand, right? If I say I have intermediate level, it's much more clear than I speak this of the language, so it's beautiful, like visually it's interesting, but it doesn't really help. So again, a resume should we should care about the appearance, the layout and all, but the content is much more important than writing something that is beautiful but it's unclear. Should not be unclear. That there is no point. You won't move to the next step of a recruitment process, especially for remote jobs, because the competition is so high if you're not clear in your resume. So every single word, every single phrase should be as clear as possible, because that's how you're going to move forward in the process. Okay. So those are the comments I wanted to share, the feedback about Florencia's resume. So Florencia is here. Yes, I see her here. She said, yes, I have a remote experience. So please make it very explicit in your resume. Nice to have you here. Nice. This is not so updated, my CV. Yes, but that's fine. Look, that's fine. I really appreciate that you were brave enough to share your resume with me, and I hope those comments, they help you to improve the resume. I mean, that's the whole purpose of that, right? That's why we are here, because we can learn together, and I appreciate you sharing your resume. It was very helpful to be able to point it out, all those things, so you can learn and improve your resume, and everybody else that is watching can also learn from that. Florencia said, my LinkedIn profile is much updated. Look, LinkedIn and the resume, they need to be aligned, okay? Don't come with that, oh, but my LinkedIn is updated, and then it should be aligned. Correct information, both optimized for remote jobs, because if the recruiter start checking your resume and is not impressed, he won't check your LinkedIn profile. He's going to say, whatever, no, I will for the next one. So both documents are important, the resume and the LinkedIn profile, but don't rely only on one, because you're decreasing the chances that someone is going to invite you for an interview. And my goal here is to increase the chances that you're going to be invited for a job interview. So I want your LinkedIn profile to be great, of course, but I want your resume also to be great. And the purpose of this live is to talk about the resume. So just implement all those changes, because your resume is going to look much more interesting, much more appealing for remote companies, and that's exactly what you want, right? Thank you once again for sharing that. Let me see, there is a question here from Lee on the chat. Would that be better listed as a skill? Not sure I understand your question. Lee, would that be better listed as a skill? I don't know what part you're talking about. Let me see my notes here. If you mean the remote work experience, could be, you can list remote work. You can list skills that are related to remote work. You can list tools that are related to remote work. All of that is great, but you can also say clearly, I have experience working remotely. There are different parts of the resume that you can say that. So look, you're applying for a remote job. So the more you emphasize that you already have remote work experience, the better. Okay, so don't be shy to do that. You can do that in different ways, in the skills part, in the experience part, in the summary, in the IT skills, so all of that, okay? The language, Lee is asking, the language. The language can be like language skills, and then you mention the language. But my main point is she mentioned the language, but the way she wrote it was not the best way. So let me go back here. Here, right? So mentioning the language can be here, can be as a skill like language skills, but don't use this bar. That's what I said. Don't use those lines to talk about how fluent you are in that language. Use words, mother tongue, native, advanced, intermediate, basic. That's more clear, okay? Hi, Andres. Hi, everyone who joined the live at some point in the process. I'm interviewing resumes for remote jobs to help you to improve your resume and increase the chances that you move forward into the process, that you get a job interview. If you also want to have your resume reviewed by me, I'm going to do more lives like that in the next day. So just, it's hard to point, yeah. Just make sure, yeah. Just make sure you scan this QR code, okay, this one here, in the upper part of my screen. You're going to be directed to a group, and in that group, you'll see the instructions to send me your resume. You need to follow those instructions, okay? Don't send me on a DM, don't send me via email. That's not the way. You need to come here, join this group, check the instructions, and then you're going to increase the chances that your resume is the next one that I'm going to review live, okay? Also in this group here, next week, I will share a special offer for you to learn much more from me about how to write a resume for remote jobs. All the steps to improve your resume, everything you need to know about it. I will make a special offer next week about it, only here. So make sure you join there. I'm going to tell you all the details about it, okay? Let me check next page of my notes here. I'm going to review another resume, okay? So just give me one moment. I'm going to open a second resume to review with you, and I saw this person in the chat before, so yes, let's do this. Excited here for another resume, right? Are you ready for another one, or maybe should I stop in the first one? Let me know in the chat. Maybe one was enough. I have another one prepared here, but let me know in the chat if I should go to the second resume writing. Not resume writing, resume feedback. So many years of resume writing, I'm always mixing up here. So let me know in the chat if I should go for the second resume review. I have it prepared here, but just want to check if this is relevant, if you're learning from me. So let me know in the chat. Let me get some feedback about it. Look, as I said, I'm being very strict with the feedback I'm sharing. And I really appreciate everybody who offered their resume for review here publicly. I'm being very strict, but this is the way that I can teach you how to maximize your resume, how to optimize that. So sorry if I'm being very, straightforward and direct, but I think that's the best way for you to understand I'm reviewing the resume, but everyone who is watching this live. So that's my goal here. There are many good things about the resumes I'm going to review here, but my focus to teach you is to emphasize the things that can be improved. So those resumes are great, but I'm, touching the points of the things that can be improved, okay? Julie said, another please. Yes, second one. Florencia is asking if the event is recorded. Yes, the event is recorded. You can watch that again. You can share that with other people that maybe didn't watch live. So, okay, I would love to see another one. Perfect. So let's do this. Let's do this. Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. I'm ready. Okay, Laura. I saw that Laura was here in the comments. She was, writing comments. So Laura, let me know if you're still here live. That's going to be much more exciting to know that you are here live with me. Let me know in the chat if you're live here. But even if you're not live, no problem. I'm going to go ahead. I prepared some notes here about your resume and to help everyone who is watching that, okay? But let me know, Laura, if you are in the live now, if you're watching that. Let me see what I wrote here about Laura, Laura's resume. Checking my notes here. Perfect. So look, I will share different things about Laura's resume just to give you more information, okay? As I said, there are amazing things about her resume. There are some mistakes that I also saw in the previous resume, but I'm going to mention new things so you have a better understanding and you learn new things in this resume, okay? So in this one, in Laura's resume, I want to talk about this part, the professional summary, okay? This part can also be called professional overview, career highlights. So the name of this section doesn't really matter, okay? You can use different names. What is important is that first, you have this section on your resume, because I see a lot of resumes that don't have that. So please make sure you check your resume and see if you have this part, okay? So normally it's right after the contact details, and it's a part that you're gonna summarize, right? As the name is saying, you're gonna summarize, you're gonna highlight the main information about your resume, okay? So this part is very important, and I see a lot of resumes that don't have this part. Laura had it, so well done, but I want to give you some feedback, Laura, about how to improve that. So for you all understand the professional summary or the overview, the career highlights, whatever name you want to call this part, okay? It should be considered as a trailer of a movie, okay? So remember when we used to go to the cinema before Netflix, okay? We were watching the trailer of the movie, and if the trailer was interesting enough, if the trailer was like catchy, like I want to know what happened, I want to know the end of the story, we were kind of hooked in that trailer, and we were paying the price literally to watch the movie. So we were going there and paying the price, like buying the ticket to watch the movie, right? With the resume, the summary will work out as a trailer of a movie. So it gotta be so interesting, so aligned with what they are looking for in that job, that recruiters say, yes, I want to keep reading the resume. I want to know more about that person. So this is the price that the resume is paying. In the cinema, paying the price is paying the ticket and watching the movie. Here, paying the price is me as a recruiter, I'm going to put my time to read the resume. So this is the function, this is the goal of the summary, to be so interesting, to be so relevant that recruiters cannot resist, and they do this. They keep reading, they scroll down, and they read the other parts of the resume, okay? Because again, you want the person to read your resume. That's why you care about writing a good resume, right? The purpose is I write the right thing, so the right people will read it, and then I move forward in the process. So the summary is extremely important in the resume. Think about it as a trailer of a movie. And if you don't have a summary, please promise me you're going to add one. And if you have a summary like Laura does, make sure that it's written in the best way as possible. It's optimized, okay? So look, the summary should be specific for that job, that company you're applying for, okay? Why is that? Because the more it's specific, the more the recruiter will feel like, oh, this person is good for this job. This person is prepared for the job. It should be almost like a checklist. You know, a checklist that you have the small box and you like, check. So imagine that they're looking for someone that has, I'll give an example, experience in SAP, that software, okay, SAP. So they mention on the job description that the person should have experience in SAP. If you have that, then make sure you mention in the summary that you have experience in the SAP, because the recruiter is going to be screening your resume and think like, I need to check if she has experience in SAP or not. If you say that not easy, first in the resume, if you say that in the very beginning of the resume, like in the summary, it's like a checklist that recruiter can check. It's like a box that the recruiter can check. Okay, so understand the main requirements of the job description. Reflect if you meet those requirements. It's not about lying. It's not about, oh, they ask for SAP, I don't have it, but I will add in my resume just in case. No, it's not what I'm talking about. Understand the requirement in the job description. Reflect if you meet that requirement, if you have that experience, if you know that program, that system, if you have done that thing. If you do, then you mention that in the summary. But Juliana, I cannot put everything in the summary. Of course not. Think about a trailer of a movie. It's not the full movie. The movie will last 1 hour and a half. The trailer is going to be 2 minutes. Shorten up. You condense the most important things. But every single word that goes in the summary should be directly linked to the job description, to the requirements of the job description. And what I notice here, Laura, in your resume, is that this is very fluffy. This is very generic, okay? This is very empty. This could fit almost like every job, but at the same time, if it's no job, and that's not good. That's not good. The summary needs to be very specific for the job. So use here keywords that are present in the job description. Put emphasis on the hard skills, not only soft skills, okay? You mentioned a lot like great communication, organizational skills, committed and all of that. Yeah, but like, what else? Everyone can say that they have great communication skills. I would rather you to mention hard skills here, and during the resume, in other parts of the resume, you demonstrate, you share examples, achievements that demonstrate that you have great communication skills, okay? So it's great, Laura, that you already have a summary on the resume. Well done for that. But you want to make it stronger, okay? You want to mention things that will be extremely relevant for the job that you're applying for, okay? Talking about the remote work experience, if you have remote work experience, this is a great place to mention that. Okay? One of the things that you can mention in the summary is that you have remote work experience, or hybrid. That's also good if you have it, okay? So let me know if it's clear in the comments. Oh yeah, Laura is there. I see Laura in the chat. Nice. Let me know if it's clear, this part about the summary, because I know that first of all, not everybody has a summary in the resume, so it can be like a kind of a new information. And also it's hard to write. I agree, it's hard to write, but it's such an important part. It's probably the most important part of the resume. So it's worth it to dedicate, some time to review yours, to rewrite it. So let me know in the chat if there is any question about it. Let me also share this thing. I worked as a recruiter for more than 15 years, right? And as I said at the beginning, my relationship with resumes is 20 years already. So I remember many times when I was reviewing a resume, I was making my decision about interviewing or not interviewing a candidate based on the summary. Can you believe this? Yeah. So sometimes I didn't need to do this, like scroll down and keep reading to decide if I wanted to interview the candidate or not. I was doing it, but very quickly. I was just like, double checking, just reviewing things. But the decision or a big part of the decision, maybe that's a better way to say that. Let's say 70% of my decision about interviewing or not interviewing that candidate was made here when I was reading the summary. So that's to give you the dimension of how important this part is. And you want to make sure that you have a summary in your resume. And second, that it's written in the best way as possible, because it's a very important part in the resume, okay? Checking my notes here, what I prepared to share with you about Laura's resume and my feedback. Okay, the skills part. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit here, and I want to talk about this part here. The skills session, okay? This is also a very common session that I see in many resumes. Sometimes people put it higher, sometimes they put like the second page, but it's a very common session. What I want to say about this session, I could say many things about it, but one thing I want to say about these skill sessions is make sure that, oh, look at this. Love this part. Look at that. Well done, Laura. That was great. But see, it was kind of lost in the middle of so many skills, okay? So if you do have experience working remotely, as you do, but I just figured it out now, and I checked your resume a few times already. So bring this to the professional summary. And you can also mention on the skill, but make sure it is in the professional summary also, okay? And in other parts of the resume also that you can do that. But okay, back to the skills. I get excited here and I just go all over the place. Let me center here based on what I what I wrote here, one thing at a time to make it easier for you to understand. When you write, if you write a skills session in your resume, it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. But if you write one, it's okay. You can have this section. But here comes the point to Laura and to everyone watching. You want to make sure that every single skill that you list in this skill section, right, skill part, is relevant to the job, to the remote job you're applying for. In other words, don't just add stuff because you think they are important, because you guess it's gonna look good in your resume. It's not a guessing game. A resume, it's not a guessing game. The skills list is not a guessing game. It's like it gotta be aligned, direct aligned with what is on the job description as a requirement. Let me give you an example, okay? She wrote passionate. The fourth bullet point in the skills is passionate. Personally, I think that a passionate people is a good thing for the job. Right? She's passionate about the job, about her career, about helping clients. So it cannot be a bad thing. Probably not, right? But the point is passionate something that is listed in the job description as a requirement for the job, as a desired skill for the job? Maybe, I don't know, because we don't have a job description that we are checking now, right? But what I want to bring to your attention is don't just throw up words in the skill because you think they're good. Oh, if I put that I am punctual, that I am responsible, that I am, patience, passionate, that's going to look good. It might look just like you are adding stuff to the resume, making it long, and then the recruiter's losing the focus to the important thing. So every single thing you list in the skills, if you decide to add a skills section in your profile, in your resume, make sure that every single thing you list is linked to the job description, is relevant to the job description. So when they read, for example, exceptional written and oral communication abilities, when the recruiter reads that, he should think like, oh, that's great, because I'm actually looking for someone that can write well and can speak, communicate properly. And how do we know what the recruiter is looking for? We cannot read minds. No, we can read the job description. The job description is going to list the main requirement. It can be soft skills, can be hard skills, but everything that goes under the skills section should be directly linked and relevant to the job description, okay? So it's not a long list, it's a list that makes sense for that position. What she did here is that she listed some, let's say, soft skills here, right? Some very specific experience in some industries, then some IT skills, right? And then language. So what I prefer to do is to separate like IT skills, language skills, and then can be like skills and then IT skills and language skills. Because I think it's more clear. Here it's all together. It's one way, but I think it's more visual, more clear if you separate the kind of skills, the group of skills you are referring to. And once again, right, the resume, recruiters have a big volume of resumes. They'll be screening resumes very fast. So if we can make the information more clear, it's easier, because like if I was screening the resume quickly and searching for like, what are the IT programs or tools that Laura used? Oh, she didn't mention that. Okay, I'm gonna go to another resume. But it's here, kind of, it's here, sorry. It's here, kind of mixed among other things between attention detail and strong troubleshooting, it's not super visible. And you want to make the information more visible, okay? So I think that if you separate into like, you can have skills for like the soft skills, some hard skills, and then you have IT skills and language skills separate. I think it's going to be more clear, the information that you are sharing, okay? Let me know if you get my point. Let me know in the chat if you have any comment, any question about this section. It's very common that people add the skill section. It's not mandatory, okay, I will say. So you can actually mention all of that in different areas of your resume, but you can have a skill section. No problem about it, as far as you maximize that, as far as you write it in the best way as possible, okay? Let me check the chat here. Yeah, Lee saying easier to read. Exactly. Just make the resume easier to read for the human being, the person, the recruiter, and for the system, the ATS, the software that will filter that. Let's think about the person, and let's think also about the software in case there is a machine filtering the resume before it goes to the recruiter's mind. Okay. What else? Okay, the work history here, okay? So I'm still in Laura's resume. So this part is very important, the work history. Some people call it experience or work experience. It doesn't really matter, okay? It's the part of the resume that you're gonna talk about the jobs you had before, right? So super important. I don't recall actually a resume, maybe I've seen one, but I don't recall, that didn't have this part. This is the part that probably everybody will add in their resume, okay? The work history, because it's like, yeah, I know I need to talk about my previous jobs, my current job. So probably you have that part in your resume, fine. But let's see how you wrote this part, because having it is like one thing, but then writing this part in the best way as possible is also super important. Right? So how you write the information will make a difference. So what Laura did here is something that it's not very common, okay? She didn't add any dates. I don't know if you noticed that. Look, there are no dates. No dates at all. So I actually have no idea. This is a remote company. Okay, I have no idea how long she worked in SafetyWing. I don't know if she was there for 1 year, for 1 month, for 1 day. I don't know if she worked there recently, like 2024, beginning of this year. I don't know if she worked there 20 years. SafetyWing is, I think, is completing 50 years, I think. Anyways, I don't know when she, maybe this is a very old experience. Maybe this is the most recent experience. I have no idea, because look, this was one job, right? In ClickFunnels, I see that she was promoted in ClickFunnels, right? 2 positions, she worked here, but I have no idea when she worked here. When was it? From January 2020 until September 2023. That's what you need to do, okay? Be specific about the starting date in each job and the end date. Oh, Juliana, but I just stayed for like a few months. I don't want the recruiter to realize it was a short experience. Look, the recruiter is going to ask that anyway. So you can try to hide it. I'll mention just the year, not the months, because that's a way that recruiters will ask that, okay? So my suggestion is that you mention the month and the year that you started in that job, and then also the month and the year that you finish that job for every single job that you list. That's something that Laura didn't do. And that worries me a bit, because I lose a lot of information when I don't know what is the most recent job, how long she stayed in that job. So make sure that you do that. If you are still working in the job, let's say your current job, right? You can write, for example, I'll give an example, from January 2020 until present. It's a very nice way to say until present, okay? So people understand that you are still currently working in that job when you submitted the resume, okay? But the dates in the jobs that you had, the jobs that you, at least the ones you listed here, right? You don't need to put all the jobs that you had 20 years experience back, no, but the ones you listed, make sure that at least I would say in the past 10 years, going back 10 years, so we are in 2024, the jobs you list until 2014, make sure that you mention month and year that you started and month and year that you finished. Because like that, I lose a lot of information, a lot. I got very lost here when I didn't see the dates of the job. So as I said, probably you have a work history, work experience, this part in your resume, this section, but just double check if you have the dates and if the dates are correct. That's another thing, right? I don't know. It was actually, I'm not sure if it was March or February. Please go ahead and check. Be precise, okay? Dates are important. Month and year, all those things matter, okay? Yeah, I think that's it about Laura's resume. Let me put the screen like this. Laura, as you're still live here, let me know how were the feedback, if it was helpful, if it added value, if you can, if you know some aspects that you can improve about your resume, let me know in the chat. I will appreciate your feedback. We are going towards the end of the live, so if you have any question for me, any comments, the moment is now. Use the chat. Also, make sure you scan this QR code here, okay, to increase the chances that I will review your resume live soon. I will do more lives in the next few days, so just keep an eye in my profile, check it, so you're going to be notified about it. And also in this group, the QR code here, I will make a, like this, yes, it's hard to point, yes, like this. I will make a special offer next week for you to finally learn how to write a resume for remote jobs. I will explain you this step by step. I'll teach you how to do that, so you ensure that your resume is the best one for remote jobs, and then you increase your confidence. You know exactly what you need to write in this document. You save time and energy, because writing resumes can be time consuming. I know that. It's like, Juliana, I have done it so many times and I'm still unsure about it. I'm still not sure if it's good enough, and I keep going back and forth. I feel lost about it. I feel that my resume doesn't show my best version online. I will help you to stop all of that and be finally confident and have a resume that is 100% designed for remote jobs. I will do that with a special offer next week, okay? So here is the place to know all the details and to be informed about the special offer. So join the group, then I can maybe review your resume in one of the next lives, and you have access to the special offer, okay? The resume is extremely important. It's a document, okay, important for you to land a remote job. So it is one of the things you need to pay attention. But only if you care about your career, only if you're really serious about landing a remote job. If you're just casually looking, if you don't know yet if you want a remote job, then you don't need to worry about it. That's fine. But if you're fully committed to land a remote job, think about the competition. Think about 200 people, 500 people sometimes applying for the same job. So the resume is one key element in the process. It's not the only one, but it's super important. And I can guide you to improve your resume, so you ensure that this part is perfect, and then you can focus on the other things that you need to focus to land a remote job. But the resume it's a very good way to start, to guarantee that that step is done properly, okay? All right, adding notes here, very good, Laura. I'm glad it was helpful. Thank you once again for sharing your resume. Thank you for being brave to let me, give you this feedback. I know it was hard, the feedback, but the goal is to really help you to improve and to land a remote job that you want. That's my goal for everyone who is watching this live, by the way. So thank you for your time. Thank you for having you here. I can review your resume in one of the next lives. Just enter here. The rules are there. The instructions are there. Florencia and Laura, they follow the instructions, and hey, here they are with their resume reviewed. Yours can be next, okay? And I can help you directly with your resume writing in the special offer I'm going to make next week, but only here. Okay, that's the only place where I will share the special conditions. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everyone who was also active in the chat. I appreciate that. That feels good here. I feel I'm not talking only to a camera. I remember that there are people watching. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Florencia and Laura, for allowing me to review your resume here. I really appreciate. Stay tuned for more lives soon, more resume review. You're still on time to send me your resume for review soon, okay? Have a nice day. Take care. See you soon. Bye.